Hi guys, I can't get my camera right. Hope you're all doing really well. I guess I should have rotated the camera before I started. Whatever. I'll fix it. Yeah. I forgot that life has to be, the other direction. Yeah, we're back. Probably nobody's here anyway. Whatever. Is that better? Got you guys all seasick. Anyway, look at me, my weird hair. Anyway, somebody will see it eventually. Hey, Sarah, how you doing? I just had issues getting my camera set up right. What else is new? And I have a Halloween hat on, and I know I don't really celebrate Halloween, but look. It's a Trump hat. Isn't that cool? So I thought that was cool. Oh my goodness. Little things make me happy. Hi, Caroline. How are you? Nice to see you. Anyway, so what I'm going to talk about is all the ramped up talk about potential war coming up that, we've been expecting for years now. So it's finally going to happen, I guess, the fake war. So I don't know if I can keep this thing on my head. We'll see if I can put up with it. So, okay, President Trump was a Catholic Charities type dinner a little bit ago. It's called the Al Smith Dinner. And in 2016, he was there with Hillary and all that, the cardinals and all that. And yeah, so, and that was the video where he totally made fun of Hillary, so you can go look it up, the Al Smith Dinner 2016. And I think President Trump had on like a white tux or tails, if I remember right. And Hillary was like, she laughed, but she looked like kind of mortified too, because the humor was like 100% aimed at her. So that's the dinner. That's the setup for what just happened. So anyway, so he said a couple of interesting things during the dinner. And at 23:50, he said, those beautiful golden domes. Now he was referring to buildings in Ukraine when he was talking, but he was also double talking because you know how it goes, right? He was saying that basically in their fake war, because there's fake stuff going on everywhere, fake bodies, wooden bodies in Ukraine. I mean, it's bizarre, with bandages hanging on them. They look like they've been wounded or DOA. So the Golden Domes were supposed to be a reference to Ukraine, but President Trump says those beautiful golden domes are crashing down. And the first thing I think of when I hear Golden Dome is the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. And, because it's a Golden Dome and it's a historic religious site for all three of the major religions. And, there's always threats against it, terrorist threats. Everybody wants their piece of the Temple Mount, right? And everybody really says, oh, I own it. And no, that's not really true as far as I can tell. So when the beautiful Golden Dome, if you don't do plural, coming down, he could mean a double reference to the Temple Mount. What do you think? Like he could mean that's what we're going to see coming up. That dome will, it'll be like a movie, right? With special effects, and it will look like it's just crashed and it's gone or something like that. Then that's just my theory. I don't know. obviously, I don't know. Um, and yeah, it's sacred to Jews, Christians, and Muslims. I should have said that. And let's see. And he said, President Trump says, if I have the honor to be elected next month, we're going to see what happens. It's happening so fast. But if I have the honor, I will work together to make this city greater than ever before. And so this dinner is in New York City. And okay, and then he says, bring it back, bring it back. And, in general, speaking about getting the city, MAGA, the city. But in my mind, because the dinner was in New York City and he says, bring it back 2 times, to me, it sounds like what Tom Numbers has been talking about, where the 2 number 2 World Trade Center, not just rebuilt, but like reappear. So you've got the one that's the memorial. I don't remember what they call it. Do they call it One World Trade Center? The one that's left, the big tall one, with that creepy memorial in there with the black hole and the waterfall going down into the black cube, which is a satanic symbol. That's what that waterfall going in the black cube is. It's all satanic. Yeah, so I think that could be it. Tom says there's a movie, and I don't remember the name of the movie, where I don't know if it's those 2 buildings, but buildings reappear. So I've got a feeling, because of what President Trump said in this Al Smith dinner, that could happen. I'm sorry about my hat. I don't know. So tell me what you think about that, because that's a big deal. Just sitting there watching, something on TV, and all of a sudden the buildings just rematerialize, because as JD says, and you'll hear a lot about JD, whether you want to hear or not. Hi, JD. These things are in different, I don't know what the word is, portals, or they're in different timelines. So those buildings are in another timeline. We're all in a different timeline, at the same time. So it's not all that hard to believe that all of a sudden we can shift and we see the buildings. So, and New York City in simple gematria is 111, and that can make you think of the 3 buildings, like the new one, the new giant one, that's a phallic symbol. That's what they always are, right? Like a Christmas tree and all that stuff. Stupid. And so then you have the number 1 and number 2 could appear, and then you've got the 3rd one. So it could be the 111 for, like I said, simple gematria at New York City. So JD, he's been helping me lately. He told me that Shadow of Ezra posted "War is coming," written in all caps, 20 times. So that was quite a post, right? That'll catch your attention. And he also said that Ghost of Ezra posted, Ukraine already has nuclear weapons. Well, I think all the nuclear weapons have been, dissolved or something, taken apart. I don't think there are nuclear weapons around anymore, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, he said Ukraine already has nuclear weapons. War is coming is simple 131. And it is finished. So when you think about that, like war is coming, and then it matches, it is finished. I think that the nuclear war, I've been talking to people about that, recently, that nuclear war really happened, and it was a long time ago, and that it's just like out of our memories. And I think that's probably why there's no more nuclear weapons, because they were like gotten rid of by the good guys. Let's see, what else matches where is coming? Uh, um, Ascended Master, crucifixion, like I'm always talking about. Did it happen or not? Were there supposed to be more than one? Who is supposed to be crucified? How many? Um, let's see. Good. Okay. Princess Jen is here. And that's like Jennifer Mack, our Jennifer Mack, right? And humiliation matches. And I think that them playing all these parts, having to do all these weird roles like Kenneth Lee Wheeler. Even though I love you, Diana, I know that that's embarrassing for you to do that with these big guy, it's a rubber suit, the bald head and tattoos all over. It's on the Theoria Apophasis channel. And that must be really hard because you're such a beautiful person, you know. Um, anyway, it's just difficult. Yeah, and War is Coming also equals is another name for Mary Magdalene. So that's a good one. So there was also a show, Penguin 6, did a recent episode. I mean, he's on almost every day as far as I can tell. But Penguin 6, who is like another Diana fractal, if you want to look at it like that. Mask, think a rubber mask and everything. He was there and conveniently was near the Capitol, and there was an evacuation drill of the US Capitol. And I think he said there's over 25,000 employees. So even though I also heard that Congress wasn't in session, but it didn't matter because there were so many other employees, so they did have to do an evacuation drill. And you could hear them saying that there was an aircraft threat that was on the loudspeakers that you kept hearing over and over again, this recording as he was walking around. And on screen, he wrote by himself, he wrote, exercise, 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 and then underneath the aircraft threat. So exercise is 88 in simple gematria, and it's Trump, of course, but it's also J. Kennedy. And it equals God's plan, get out, rise up, 10 days, massive, murdered, captured, grounded, like all planes grounded maybe in the future, home alone, like you're by yourself waiting for all the stuff to happen. And in Jewish, exercise is on the set this October, a secret code decoder. I am so miserable, matches, because people will be flipping out. About time, and the holiest attack. Now that could be the Temple Mount or just somewhere in Israel, I don't know. Just tell me what you think about that one. Aircraft alert in Jewish is 574, and it equals incredulity. I can't say it. Incredulities. Scary, fake name, and it's a deception. So all that matches aircraft alert. It also matches in simple, Donald J. Trump, essential info, a message from God, and Project Bluebeam. I think we're going to see it on steroids, as I always say. Project Bluebeam is going to be like everywhere. And I think it's going to be not just seeing things, it's going to be like loud. I think it'll have like sound with it. Yeah, so Penguin 6 said this funny thing during this video. He mentioned Buddhist monks. And that jumped right out because it's so odd. And it's simple 159, and it's John F. Kennedy Jr. We're not surprised, are we? And A Week to Remember from Q-Post. And it's also November 15. Now, a lot of dates come up with doing these decoding things. I mean, dates here and dates there and dates every which way. But I just thought, well, November 15, that would be just after the election. Is something big going to happen then? I don't know. Let's see. What else do we have here? Oh, Buddhist monks equals time to wake up, a perfect storm, and stay indoors. So, oh yeah, and how did I miss this one? Election day and stand by. So, yeah, Buddhist monks equals election day. So I don't know, is election day going to be a good thing or a bad thing? I should be, I'm so sorry I'm not looking at what you guys are saying. I'm just kind of like rambling. Let's see. What are we saying here? Oh, hit the like. Thank you, Mayor. That's sweet. Hit the like button. You like my hat? Yeah. It's a little big and I haven't adjusted it. Oh, and then my makeup. I don't have makeup on. I'm scary. I'm really scary. Oh, and Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Oh, Susan. Hi. Spooky. Every time I see Spooky, I think of the Rife machine you guys help me get. Spooky 2, which I really like it. Thank you. So very cool. Yeah, so Penguin 6 is referring to election day in its coding. So, and I was saying before, when Congress is like, let's say that all of Congress is together, they always have what they call a designated survivor. And I know we've talked about this before, this is a repeat, but so someone's chosen from among them in case the government like completely falls apart or they're wounded or missing or killed or something. There's this one person that can have continuity of government and they can keep things going, keep the plates spinning and all that stuff. And I was thinking like, okay, when would they all be together? And you guys know that I think there is a chance anyway of a contingent election. And that's where neither major party gets 270 votes from the Electoral College. And it also can happen, a contingent election can also happen if the person who wins isn't able to fulfill and going on between the election and the inauguration on January 21st. They can't, do it. Either maybe they're badly wounded or they're in jail. I wonder, I don't know about that part yet, but or gone, something happens. Who knows? So, and a contingent election, so they'd have to all get together and they would vote, and the Senate votes for vice president, and the House, which is 435 members, votes for the president. So, anyway. So that's interesting, right? I don't know. So I got some neat comments. Some of you guys leave the best comments. And I don't know, for the general public that doesn't pay a lot of attention to the comments, you really should see what all our folks, are writing in the comments, because we have some really cool people that write in the comments and they give you things. If you code it, their comment, the way I do, like taking all the caps from the phrase or post, or taking their name with the number next to their name or something like that, or a phrase out of their comment, you'll find out some really cool things, because they're not just anybody posting, in my opinion. That's just what I think. And so you guys should feel honored that we have really cool things to work on just from our comments. I think it's great. I get a big kick out of it. And yeah. So, and thank you for doing it, everybody. I appreciate it. So let's see. So like, maybe I shouldn't even give you the name, but there was one that ended up being Diane. And let's see, another phrase from the same person was Jennifer, and I am erasing suffering, Q. And like I said, I think that in the Garden of Eden, everybody screwed up. I don't think it was the one or two. I think there's four of them. And I think that, they're going to pay the price with the beast event, with the many-headed beast, most likely, coming out of the water. And then they'll be gone for 3.5 days. Everybody will see it. And then everything's better. And I think hopefully that's when our DNA kicks in, and maybe that's when we all move up, out of the 3D to the next level. And and out of this person's comments, I should say, it was so funny. One of the matches was, I am definitely not a liar. Like I really am who I say I am. Really, really I am. And but it equals U.S. military, and let's see, invasion under pressure, time to unit, lineage, death by numbers, stages set, big announcement, horror show, stand at the ready, and laugh out loud. So there's all kinds of war references there, and like a movie. And then I did all the caps from this comment, and it equals codes, Juan, dove, because Juan, I think it's played by Diana and Jackie, but usually Diana will be like doves, like a sacrifice for all of us. And that's why dove matches Juan. And another thing that matches Juan is Noel, like Christmas. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I threw that in there. So who else? We got someone else that left a comment that was good. And the name equals code system. And final news and final warning and breaking news. So that was really cool, just from the name of the person that commented. And it also equaled John Kennedy Jr. and the real commander-in-chief. And then even more, you do not need to fear, Beauty and the Beast tale. Like maybe they're taking turns, rating this character. The sound of silence, that would be after a fake nuclear attack, right? War preparations, and misinformation with 2 S's. And all the caps from the comment were, I am God, I'm code, and let's see, and that was in Jewish, and in symbol it's JK. And let's see. And then someone said, they had a phrase in here that said, beloved false idols. Okay, I'll read the whole thing. Hi, Kat. In my humble opinion, I think we all raise our frequency in love and light when all our beloved false idols come back from the dead. Maybe in the spring resurrection weekend. Well, beloved false idols is what really jumped out at me. And it equals Jewish 1081, and that's ASS INATION. And that would be fake, right? Population reduction, Avatar 3. I said that backwards. So, and all the caps from that post equal Jenny and bad news. And how about, simple, beloved false idols, enjoy the show. She is the Messiah. And all systems go, and fake alien invasion. So that was pretty good. I shouldn't read so many. But there was just so many war type references, and that was kind of new. Usually it's more like, hi, I'm fake, I'm not really who I say I am, I'm somebody else, I'm Princess Diana. That's kind of more like what I get. And lately it's now been more along the line of war. Like your resurrection weekend, one if by land, two if by sea, glorious demolition, extraterrestrials, my life is a simulation. And it also matched, now listen, resurrection weekend also matched what I've been just talking about, designated survivor. That one person that's selected to be away from everybody else when the Congress is together. And Christmas coming early, and like I said, designated survivor. So that was a lot from that one person. Yeah, and another person posted, and it equaled fake deaths of celebrities, Queen of Our Hearts, and that's the nickname, literal nickname of Princess Diana, Queen of Our Hearts, false imprisonment, and I've gotten somewhere else in here, I don't know if I'll get to it, but that it sounds like, I've talked about it before, but you never know. President Trump could be arrested by the military. Like maybe he wins and then the military decides he's not good enough or something. And then it looks like he's, like I've got it in here. I just saw it today. SHOT by the military was a match. That phrase I just said. So anyway, so enough of that. So Kenneth Lee Wheeler, who I was telling you was the character with the bald and the mask and the rubber face and all the tattoos all over. It's a guy looks like a guy, but it's a Diana fractal, if you want to call it that. That's what I've been saying lately. And the channel is Theoria Apophasis. And the title was, What's Coming Around the Corner? And right off the bat, he said, prepper tubes. And he's like a prepper to a point, but he's not, or the character is a prepper to a point, but not like all the way. And anyway, prepper tubes equals simple 161, and it equals black operations, shock the world, 11th month, like which calendar, right? I don't know. What are we in? We're in the Julian calendar. So, I mean, at this moment, 11th month is November. And it equals asphyxiation, rule the world, sound of silence. And I get that a lot lately, like things quiet. I had Mr. MBB talking about that very recently, how everything was very, very quiet. And he'd say it like 3 or 4 times in one episode. Oh, it's very quiet. Yeah, prepper tubes equals multi-dimensionals. And maybe that's another way to look at Diana and all the other guys. They're multi-dimensional instead of just saying fractal. They're everywhere. Let's see, he said, you get sent information from various places. Well, he's sending us information right there. And then he said, 12 days until the selection. Notice I didn't say election. And selection in Jewish is 322, and it's planned all night long. And then it's simple 102. It's I am Yeshua, war with, it doesn't say with which, but war with DJ Trump, art of war, grave danger, and flashlight. That all matches selection. Yeah. Oh, and planned all night long, and thriller. Be patient. Thriller. All night long. I thought last year, this is how wrong I've been. I thought last Christmas Eve, this is it. It's going to happen tonight. I was so ready. And because of, in A Christmas Carol, you had the three ghosts, which I always took as the three warnings. Three warnings, and then something real happens, like false alarms and that kind of thing. And I was so sure. So I don't know what'll happen. Is something to happen first before Christmas? Or was I like a year off? I don't know. So Kenneth Lee Wheeler brings up there's three, well, okay. This is how he put it. By the way, three national security forces. This is confirmed. The nationwide, I'm going to use the word attack, a la cyber attack, is widely expected to be carried out. I'm reading all the ahs, everything, to be carried out. So by the intelligence agencies, they actually are doing a drill on November the 4th through November the 6th. And he said that at 2:17 through November the 6th. Those days are slightly important. I'm trying to remember what happens on the 4th through the 6th. What happens again? And he's being sarcastic because the election is the 5th. So he said it's the armed forces. By the way, also the United States are reporting transmitting a staggering number of EAMs. And that's in, let's see, they're called emergency action messages, which is different than emergency alerts. I don't know where you see EAMs. It's a new phrase to me. And he said there were over 35 on this Tuesday. This all happened a couple of days ago, and 62 yesterday. And then at 2:50, and that's important because that's on the fives, and that means it's Comz. He said on a typical day there might be 5 to 10, so we have fives in there again. But they're having a drill. It's supposed to be a drill on November the 4th through November 6th. And they actually have plans in the case of a cyber event. I think I'm going to use the term cyber event. And so cyber event equals Jewish 322, and it equals no election. Shocking ending. That's what cyber event equals. Cyber event equals art of war, holy war, U.S. Navy, U.S. dollar, and family feud. So I don't know what's going to happen on election day. Oh my gosh. I just don't know. And then he says they actually have plans called continuity of government in case everything goes down. The government is fine, no matter what you think of them, one way or another. Actually, there's several redundancies of continuity of government. And he said that 2 times. So continuity of government equals electromagnetic wave, planes flying over house all the time, like military, maybe looking planes. Nobody can stop what is coming. The art of manipulating objects, like making it look real. I've been saying that it'll look like planes are falling out of the sky. I think that'll happen at some point. And it also equals, I know that you're a liar. So he's telling us a story, So anyway. And he brought up continuity of family, continuity of yourself. And then he said, then this is called the AFCEA, and Homeland Security plans a super large scale cyber event. I'm going to use the word event again. And continuity is, in simple, 150, and it's Magdalene, Phil Godlewski, because it's all the same person, another false flappy thing on a flagpole, and electromagnetic, and brace yourself. Now here's where it gets really hairy. Continuity also equals US president, and it equals Trump, bang, bang. Trump SH, and then an OT. So I think things are going to look pretty intense no matter what happens. So event plant Francis, and that's Diana's middle name. It's me. This is a little bit of Comz saying who this Kenneth Lee Wheeler really is, you know. Femboy, because it's Diana. Scary and homicide, like that could be related back to the events that could be happening. Event equals fakes destroyed, maybe like war scenes, you know, with fake bodies. Royal Theater. And then he said, at 3:50, he said, a simulation between the November 4th and November the 6th. And he said, I'm being facetious right now, because he is. I don't know if they're going to blame solar, because right now there are CMEs, coronal mass ejection. Oh, wait. I wrote ejections because that's what a CME is, but he said injections. So he did like a Trumpism, right? So he used the wrong word, you know, of course on purpose. And he said, they're going to blame the cyber event. Are they going to blame Persia? And Persia goes by a different name, right? He said that, and that's Iran, but he's also saying, you know, I go by a different name. That's what he means. I think you know what Persia's current name is. That was at 417. Persia equals code breaker, creating, horrific, decipher, and adrenaline. Persia equals Jenny for our Jennifer Mack. And I'm actually lacking a very, very few things that are extremely cheap, he says. I don't actually have hardly any iodine tablets. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen, meaning nuclear accidents or terrorism. And he said, all you have to do is read between the lines. That's so funny because that's what we're doing, right? And to be honest with you, I'm going to order iodine tablets, and not because I think I need them, but because anybody who comes over that's like kind of freaked out about what's going on, they'll be like, I need iodine tablets. Like, what if it looks like there's a cyber attack and all the nuclear plants look like they're melting down at the same time? And the story goes that when President Bush was in office, he put forward that he wanted the Iran nuclear power plant to, I don't think it really melted down, but it stopped working. It got sent messages or software or something that made it go overload, and then it stopped. So things like that can, I guess, from the outside happen. Let's see. And he mentioned, okay, so Kenneth mentions Gordon Chang. I don't know if you know who that was, Gordon Chang. He said you should have enough food, water, and medicine for months, preferably no less than 3. And Gordon Chang is decode and decipher, and it's nuclear bomb and stay home. You know, it's a fake name. Let's see. And he says most people don't mention water filtration. Very, very unlikely to stay down for a long time. Likely, I'm sorry, yes, to stay down for a long time. And he said over 35 EAMs on Tuesday, 62 yesterday. Like I said, he said it again. He said they create a problem and a solution comes forward for their agenda. The FDIC is broke. He says the great taking, banks are insolvent, the Fed is insolvent, countless trillions in derivatives, which will all get wiped away when the reset happens. It's just it, Sarah, and all that stuff. And I heard from Lisa D that Phil Godlewski talked a lot about Nasera, Jacera, and the reset on one of his real recent episodes. but you have to listen part way in. And I'm sorry, I don't know the name of it, but maybe he just calls them live. I don't know. But she listens to him all the time, and she said he went into great detail about what was going to happen. And he's one of our Dianic fractals, you know. And he talked about the BRICS summit, and they've been showing what their note would look like, and it's going to all be backed by gold. That's what the whole point of BRICS is. And we're not in it because we're not backed by gold, at least not publicly. And one thing Kenneth kept saying was, this won't be allowed to happen. And he said, like, the choice is digital currency or a kinetic conflict. And he said, let's see. And he said, North Korea troops training in Russia. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. Let's see. Oh, he mentioned Chicago several times, and it equals codes and won, but it equals chaos. He said something about the big picture, the illusion of choice. It's not going to be allowed. Again, let's see. See the big picture, see what's coming. Sorry. And he said, BRICS is the coffin nail in the US dollar. They're showing this sample around of the bill. It won't be allowed. I'm talking about the US government. I'm talking about NATO. And then he started talking about Hungary and that the EU wants to basically dismantle the government in Hungary. And the EU rules, and Viktor Orban would be gone and all this stuff. So Viktor Orban was talking about it. And it won't be allowed, that Kenneth keeps saying, equals one world government. And I think it will look like that at some point. And it also equals Gematria calculator and near-death experience. And if you remember, Juan has been telling everybody that we'll experience a near-death experience at some point. And then Kenneth says, Brussels, the heart of the beast, they admit they want to get rid of the Hungarian government. And he said a multi-headed hydra. And that's a beast, literal beast reference. He says the word beast, and then he says multi-headed hydra that wants to control, Hungary. And he said they want a Brussels puppet government hanging around the neck of Hungary. I think that's like a reference to the beast, because they're kind of like all tied up. Just like in A Christmas Carol, Back to A Christmas Carol. The ghost comes in and he's all chained up and he's weighed down. And that's kind of how I imagine that the poor people will be, sitting set up, waiting. They're not going to be able to like swim away or get away. They're going to be all chained. So then I went and checked that post from Kenneth was a couple days ago. So then I went and checked the Homeland Security website, and it was really like AFCEA, and they had an announcement on scheduling their Homeland Security conference and on critical infrastructure. And that's where they were going to do all this planning, or, all the things that he just talked about. Cyber event. And this is just a phrase from in there. A rapid and unanticipated rise in rhetoric and threats stemming from disinformation from the purpose of this event and its proximity to Election Day contributed to the decision to postpone. So everybody's getting all riled up going, they're going to do this cyber event during the election. Now they go and give us all these comms and say, there's threats and stuff and disinformation and as to what we're really doing and all that. So we're going to just postpone it a little bit. And you do the letters from the organization, AFCEA, and it's CBK, which is Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. And CBK always was Diana, in my opinion. And rapid and unanticipated equals Princess of Wales, and alien transmission and I am free from all debts. So like, I don't know if the reset has already happened and we just don't know about it, or if it's going to happen eventually, soon. I know Tom has the big countdown for November 5th, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna look like war stuff. And I suppose we could be on a different timeline and we don't see it. Anyway, threats stemming from disinformation equals the trial of the century will begin soon. And, like if they're gonna arrest President Trump, that would be the trial of the century. And that would be the Q post, the first arrest will shock the world, right? If that was what was happening. And in Jewish, that was 2023. And it equals, you won't even believe this one. So the trial of the century will begin soon, matches threats stemming from disinformation. It also equals Donald Trump gets KILLED, but just like we talked about a few minutes ago, And another match to threats stemming from disinformation is when the SHIT goes down, no surrender Q. And I think it does look like the US surrenders. And that's another thing we've talked about for a long time. So when it looks like we've surrendered, don't flip out. Well, I mean, you can flip out a little bit because it is upsetting just to even hear it, but it won't be real. So just try to get a grip and it's going to be okay. Rise in rhetoric is in Jewish, it's 568, and it's signs of deception, humor, costumes, cell phone number, like maybe people start getting those alert calls, dire straits. Rise in rhetoric equals decode information and World War III. So, proximity to Election Day is simple 297, and it's Yellowstone National Park. And we've been waiting for all the man-made or maybe just video made or, I don't know, of volcanoes and eruptions and things. Global population reduction, that's proximity to Election Day. A bringer of woe and misfortune, close to a nervous breakdown. They put code in the outage map, and I think they do, down detector, I think it's coded, although I've never really sat and worked on it. But downdetector.com will show you like what areas or what cities have got problems with whatever, cable or electricity or whatever. And then it equals just be patient and trust me, and don't be afraid 3 times. And then finally, at the end of this little thing where they said they're going to reschedule the cyber event, it says dates to be announced. And it's listen carefully. The storm is here. The end of the world. Now, I don't know if this has anything to do with it. Like I said, dates are on this database constantly. But November 4th matches. And cashless society matches. And psychologically and impersonators. Like fake people have been on TV all the time, like generals and, that Karine, whatever her name is, the White House spokeswoman. It's somebody else. I mean, I don't remember who she was, but I worked on that ages ago. And then I remember I was telling you about Mr. MBB 333 is going, everything is so quiet. It's very, very quiet, guys. And then he goes, could be the calm before the storm. And Mr. MBB 333 is like into the alien stuff. So, different kinds of people watch these videos for different reasons. They're interested in one like little river of information. but they're not all cute people, you know, like these people might be just listening for alien stuff because they believe aliens are here. So I think they've got different strokes for different folks, you know, like different people will um, find their information in different ways, you know, and that's why they're in so many places at the same time. And then so yeah, the calm before the storm, and it could be COMM, right? It's the calm before the storm. And he said the earth facing side of the sun, it too is very, very quiet. And then he showed a UFO that somebody had sent in a video, and he said it almost looks like a boot or something falling through the sky. And it was from Jamestown, Pennsylvania. Well, Jamestown is Christ. And the boot reminds me of Juan always wears boots, and Jesus, whatever you want to call him, was crushed the head of Satan and hurt his heel. And I think it was the boot, one of Juan's boots, because Juan was on Tom's show one time, a long time ago, and he said, I have a different kind of pair of boots on. They're snake skin. And that's because my old boots, the heel got damaged. And, you know, so the heel broke. So now I got snakeskin boots. And I think that was a reference to crushing the head of Satan, evil, and then having the snakeskin boots because it was gone. Anyway, enough of that. But, and one last thing. There's always something extra. And Bite-Sized Audio Classics, that's one of the, it's by Simon Stanhope, and that's like Diana and Jen on this ages ago. It's really hard to keep track of everybody. But it was called The Diary of a Nobody, and it was part 8 called The End. And it's been, you know, a multi-part thing coming out over a period of months. And he reads like stories from Victorian and Edwardian eras. And so supposedly this one guy comes into a dinner and he's hurt. He had been hurt and out of commission, and he was upset that nobody noticed. And then I think he handed him a magazine, and the magazine was like called The Bicycle News. And, you know, bicycles were a big thing back then. And this man had gotten hurt on his bicycle. So this is the story in the magazine. We regret to hear that the favorite old roadster, Mr. Cummings, Long Cummings, has met with what might have been a serious accident in Rye Lane. And that was right before I went to Rye, New Hampshire. So that was really cool. I don't know. Everything is tied together. I think everything's for a reason. And anyway, I do think that Rye Lane was important, like especially to me. A mischievous boy threw a stick between the spokes of one of the back wheels, and the machine overturned. The machine overturned. Now, could that be a reference to that past election, you know, where they messed with the machines, or could it be the upcoming election in a few days? You know, machine overturned. Bringing our brother tricyclist heavily to the ground. Okay, and I think that because of the next line, you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, I think that it's from when President Trump that looked like he got shot by the ear, like the White Hats did that, and I think. Fortunately, he was more frightened than hurt. And this was at 23:45. But we missed his merry face. We missed his face. They pretended they had the blood capsule or something for the ear, right? And but we missed his merry face at the dinner, where they turned up in good numbers, like lots of people, like at a rally, or you can think numbers like our decoding. And Long Cummings' health was proposed by our vice, Mr. Westrop, who in his happiest vein said it was a case of Cummings, he said it as if it was a Z, coming through the rye, but fortunately there was much more wheel than woe. And even before this, on the same audio, he said he made CV reference, the deathly, deadly illness. And he said people getting ill without being near anyone, and that the woman, the wife of this man, Carrie, wouldn't hear of it. In other words, she didn't believe it. And then they said after this, wouldn't want to rot away in the suburbs. Okay, and I know this sounds like an awkward phrase, but it made me think of like the people in the suburbs are not going to be the ones that look like they're attacked. I think, I don't know, with the fake war stuff. And at the end of this whole long saga, this part 8 called The End, at the end, the boss bought his home for him. So to me, that was like a Nasera reference, right? Like all this tied into one little audio book on bite-sized audio classics. He gives things like this all the time. You can really, once you start listening, you won't be able to stop. And he's got a great voice too. So I hope you enjoyed that. I almost lost my voice doing this. So let's see, is there anything else? Oh, and I was watching a movie, an old movie. I didn't even finish watching it, but it was an old John Wayne movie. And the screenplay, I always notice who writes and directs and produces. And if the name jumps out, I code it. And the original story was by Joe, J-O, Swirling. And Joe Swirling is 132, and it's Princess Diana. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. So, yeah. Oh, and The Bishop's Wife, probably one of my favorite, well, I think it is my favorite Christmas movie. The screenplay was by Robert Sherwood, and there's all these E's and O's and everything. And O2 R's, there's a lot of double letters here, and it's simple 213, and it's Diana, Princess of Wales. And then in the movie, The Bishop's Wife, this is the old version, the black and white. It's got Cary Grant, my Cary Grant. I'm going to meet Cary Grant. I'm going to tell you. So the professor is in the beginning of the movie, and he's arguing with this Italian guy at a sale, and the professor is like this curmudgeon guy, and he wants this tree that has just like a Charlie Brown tree with just a few branches. And he said $1.85 for this miserable weed, and $1.85 is Donald John Trump. So isn't that cool? I thought that was funny. I've got all these weird little notes here, but a couple of songs I noticed. America did Ventura Highway, and he goes, "Come on, Joe, you can always change your name." And I always say that Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. was reborn as John F. Kennedy Jr. So, Joe, you can always change your name. And Bob Welch song Ebony Eyes. And he said, "Have you seen that girl in the corner? I'd like to take her out of her chains. She was the same as 100 ladies." And anyway, who's going to be in the chains? I think the ladies and the men are going to be in chains waiting for the beast thing. And anyway, and being 100 people, well, probably millions of people all over the place, all at the same time, because time travel isn't what we think it is, right? So, hope you enjoyed it. And I have stuff on Daryl Anka. I wish I'd gotten into that, but I've probably done this for yeah, it's been just about an hour, so I won't get into that. I have Carrie Cassidy to work on too. I have a big thing on Carrie Cassidy that's been waiting for me. So, if I don't talk to you soon, I don't know when I'm going to do another video, but if I don't talk to you soon, enjoy your quasi-holiday of Halloween, because I know a lot of us have kids, and like my grandkids are still going to dress up. Nobody gets what's going on, but life will get better at some point, right? Everything's going to be okay. And yeah, so take care of yourselves, care of each other. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye. I don't know how to stop it. Ah, here, I did this last time, didn't I? Does that stop it?